In 2012, there was an officer named Captain Nasser who received a promotion, but it required him to relocate to another city to take up his new position at a well-known prison, the General Prison. When Nasser arrived, he began familiarizing himself with the officers and staff, settling into his office and starting his duties as usual. Within a week, he grew accustomed to the prison environment. Nasser was a man who loved his job passionately, which earned him frequent promotion recommendations from his superiors. Nasser had a habit of setting aside one day a week to tour the prison wards, checking on the inmates to see if they needed anything or had issues. He would move from ward to ward, sitting with the prisoners as if he were one of their friends, asking if anyone needed help, if their families were neglected, or if he could assist with anything outside the prison. This made him very popular, and his reputation and affection among the inmates grew over time. During night shifts, Nasser would ask the guard on duty to bring him the inmates' files. He reviewed them to identify prisoners nearing the end of their sentences who might qualify for a pardon committee or those sentenced to death, assessing their situations and their families' needs. One night, while going through the files, he came across a shocking case. A prisoner named Abdullah, sentenced to death. Nasser initially assumed it was related to drugs or a murder during a brawl, but as he read further, he was stunned. Abdullah was convicted of killing his wife. Not just killing her, but eating her. With little time left, Nasser tried to gain Abdullah's trust. One day, some items requested by inmates, including medicine, books, and glasses, arrived at the prison. Among them were items for Abdullah, oil, honey, and other materials typically used by religious healers for exorcisms. The guard explained that Abdullah's brother and a sheikh brought them, claiming Abdullah was bewitched. The prison director refused to allow the items, deeming them unnecessary, which upset Abdullah. Nasser saw an opportunity and offered to approve the items if Abdullah shared his story. Abdullah agreed, asking for the items first and promising to talk the next day. The items were delivered, but when Nasser met Abdullah the following night, Abdullah refused to share, saying he had only 20 days left and wanted to leave the world in peace, asking forgiveness for himself and his wife. Frustrated, Nasser sent him back to his cell, but remained determined to uncover the truth. Days later, a fight broke out in Ward 4 between Abdullah and another inmate, leading to Abdullah being placed in solitary confinement. There, he panicked, screaming about his fear of the dark. Nasser rushed to the cell, finding Abdullah unconscious. After being revived, Abdullah thanked Nasser for saving him from the dark, revealing his phobia. Nasser tried again to get the story, but Abdullah refused. With only 3 days until the execution, Nasser made a final attempt, respecting Abdullah's wish to keep his secret, but expressing concern that others might have framed him. Abdullah admitted to killing his wife with his own hands, insisting he deserved the death penalty. He thanked Nasser for his kindness and asked if he needed help with anything, debts, messages to family, or other matters. Abdullah began to cry, but refused to elaborate and returned to his cell. The next day, with 48 hours left, Abdullah urgently requested to see Nasser. He finally opened up, promising to tell the full story on 2 conditions: that Nasser pray for him and his wife at the Kaaba in Mecca, and that he share the story after the execution to warn others. Nasser agreed, and Abdullah began. In 2011, Abdullah, a government employee and internet addict, stumbled upon a website about devil worship, magic, and summoning spirits. Initially skeptical, he was drawn in by user stories claiming success with rituals. Challenged by a user, he tried a love spell to summon a beloved from the spirit world. He chose a girl he admired in his youth. Following the site's instructions, he performed the ritual alone in a dark room while his wife was visiting her family. During the ritual, he heard a girl's laughter, terrifying him. When he returned to the room, the ritual items were mysteriously burned, emitting smoke. Excited, he shared his experience on the site, discovering others had similar encounters. That night, Abdullah had vivid dreams of the girl, feeling as if she were real. He became obsessed, dreaming of her every night and growing distant from his wife. His wife noticed his change, complaining to relatives. One day, while Abdullah was at work, she entered the ritual room, finding it filthy with strange items and signs of someone else's presence. Convinced he was cheating, She confronted him through her family, who demanded he stop sleeping in the separate room. Abdullah refused, and his wife left for her parents' home. Months later, her family forced her to return, locking the ritual room and taking the keys. Unable to access the room, Abdullah's beloved appeared in a dream, demanding he eliminate his wife to be together. In a trance-like state, he attacked his wife, biting her savagely. He fled, and her family found her dead, mutilated as if by a wild animal. Abdullah was arrested, and during the investigation, he claimed he was bewitched. A sheikh provided him with ritual items in prison, which helped calm his nightmares of the spirit haunting him. Abdullah explained he was a victim of the website, which led him to demonic rituals that manipulated his mind. He became addicted to the spirit, likely a demon, and paid the price with his wife's life. He regretted his actions, but accepted his fate. Nasser fulfilled his promise, performing Umrah for Abdullah and sharing his story as a warning. He emphasized the dangers of engaging with occult books or websites, which can destroy lives. The story serves as a cautionary tale about the risks of dabbling in the supernatural.